A reading from the first letter of St. Peter. Beloved, I exhort the presbyters among you, as a fellow presbyter and witness to the sufferings of Christ, and one who has a share in the glory to be revealed. Tend the flock of God in your midst, overseeing it not by constraint, but willingly, as God would have it, not for shameful profit, but eagerly. Do not lord it over those assigned you. Be examples to the flock. And when the chief shepherd is revealed, you will receive the unfading crown of glory. The word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Here I am, Lord. I come to do your will.
Here I am, Lord. I come to do your will.
I have waited for the Lord, and he stooped toward me and heard my cry. And he put a new song into my mouth, a hymn to our God.
Here I am, Lord. I come to do your will.
Sacrifice or oblation you wish not, but ears open to obedience you gave me. Burnt offerings or sin offerings you sought not. Then said I, behold, I come.
Here I am, Lord. I come to do your will.
In the written scroll it is prescribed for me. To do your will, O my God, is my delight, and your law is within my heart.
Here I am, Lord. I come to do your will.
I announced your justice in the vast assembly. I did not restrain my lips, as you, O Lord, know.
Here I am, Lord. I come to do your will.
Your justice I kept not hid within my heart. Your faithfulness and your salvation I have spoken of. I have made no secret of your kindness and your truth in the vast assembly.
Here I am, Lord. I come to do your will. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. Alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke. An argument broke out among the apostles about which of them should be regarded as the greatest. Jesus said to them, "The kings of the Gentiles lord it over them, and those in authority over them are addressed as benefactors. But among you it shall not be so. Rather, let the greatest among you be as the youngest, and the leader as the servant. For who is greater, the one seated at table or the one who serves? Is it not the one seated at table? Yet I am among you as the one who serves. It is you who have stood by me in my trials, and I confer a kingdom on you, just as my Father has conferred one on me, that you may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and you will sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel." The Gospel of the Lord. It's kind of hard to imagine that somebody who actually started out as a slave, who was condemned, rightly or wrongly, we're not so sure, but condemned one way or another for fiscal impropriety and exile to the salt mines of Sardinia, could somehow be redeemed and rescued, ordained a priest, and then given charge of a specific job in the city of Rome, which was to supervise the burial of the dead. Okay, just amazing to go from slave to very, very humble yet important position. Okay, the Appian Way outside the city of Rome has a series of catacombs. Catacombs were simply places where people were buried and they weren't very, very wealthy. Okay, you might have a row cut into the stone with maybe as many as 5 slots in that row, okay, bodies in each one of those slots. That's what the catacombs were all about. But in this particular catacomb, there was an area where the bishops of Rome were being buried. In fact, in one of these things is called the crypt of the popes. I think 12 popes of the 3rd century were all buried there. And Callistus was in charge of this, a very, very important responsibility. In fact, those catacombs are now called the Catacombs of San Callisto, okay, and they're very, very important. One of the most famous accidental discoveries there was the body of Saint Cecilia, as it turns out. So there's Callistus doing that, and then becomes Bishop of Rome. He's elected Bishop of Rome. He goes from slave, condemned of a crime, to ordained, to having a serious, even if humble, responsibility, then to becoming the Bishop of Rome. And so it's, even though it's about 370 years later that this term is going to be used, it's appropriate to talk about Callistus as going from slave to servant of the servants of God. Okay? Everyone ordained, be it priest, bishop, pope, everyone needs to be a servant of the servants of God. Okay? My job is to be a servant of the servants of God at this parish. Bishop Rhodey's job is to be the servant of the servants of God throughout the Archdiocese of Mobile. Benedict's job is to be the servant of the servants of God, first and foremost in the city of Rome, and then for the universal church. That's quite a journey for Callistus, quite a journey. What about our journey? How will we look at each other and not necessarily, as the gospel has today, vie to see who is the greatest, but rather to see who can actually serve? There's the glory that the first letter of Peter talks about. Serve the people. Take care. Do the responsible thing that you're supposed to do. Not for, as he put it, filthy lucre. Okay? But do it generously. And we need to be servants one to another as well. So as we celebrate St. Callistus today, we can examine all the different kinds of ways in which humble and yet important service can be offered to God by us as we serve one another. Let us stand and pray.